Enter Virtuoso on the command line to open the CIW, your command interpreter window, which is the starting point for the Virtuoso design environment. On first glance, you can see that it is divided into input and output areas. There is a prompt line at the bottom, and mouse button cues will be available here once you start using the tool. There are menus available that allow you to access different tools and its associated options. The auto-highlighting of skill keywords, strings and constructs is provided in an expandable multi-line input area that you can see over here. Recently opened design windows are listed in the file menu that we will be seeing soon in the following slides. Warnings and error messages are color-coded in the output pane. Also, command history can be displayed and commands can be reused from the CIW. We spoke about the .cds.env file earlier. Here is a simple example. You can use the environment variables to control the raising of the CIW to the front of the screen on an error or warning message. The warning messages or error messages will be available in the output section of the CIW. These here are skill functions that you see highlighted in yellow, and the default values for both are nil, which means the CIW will not be raised on an error or warning message. To turn this on, set it to T, which is the case over here. The file menu contains options that you would find in most software file menus such as new, open, etc. You can see this file menu now that has been torn off from the CIW. There are additional options to import, export, make some view read-only, etc. You can also see a list of the most recently opened cell views. The oldest item falls off the menu when the maximum number is reached in the recently used file list. This darting off of the file menu that I just mentioned earlier works for all the other menu items on the CIW and for most of the other menu items in the forms in Virtuoso. So now when you access the menu, you can see that dotted line. Double clicking on it or dragging it will separate it out. There is a bookmarks option that allows you to manage your bookmarks using a bookmarks manager form. Do try and explore this when performing the labs. Now any design that you create, you usually draw it out on the schematic canvas and save it as a cell view. The general format for the cell view is library, cell and view. This means that each cell view needs to be a part of a design library. You already may have existing libraries if you are in the middle of a project and are taking this class, and that is if you go back to your work environment and take a look at it. Now remember that default libraries are part of your Cadence install and they will be included by definition in the cds.lib file. In case you need to add a new library, you can do it from the CIW or the library manager. On the slide, you see how you can create a new library from the CIW. It's from the CIW, go to the file menu, choose new and then library to open the new library form. Give the new library that you want to create a name and choose which directory you want to create it in, using the directory structure that is accessible below the name field. For physical design and verification, you need to specify the technology file or the tech for a library to be attached to this new library that you're creating. And after that, you have to click OK to add the new library. Now, if there are only schematics, then you can choose this option that says do not need process information if you're just trying out some schematics. You do not need to actually attach a tex file. And when your new library is created, it will be visible in the library manager as well as in the cds.lib file. In the earlier slide, we saw an example of the file preferences form. Here you see the options form when it is invoked. Note the different options that you can access from this form. You can bring up the user preferences form here if you click on the user preferences, and we talk more in detail about this form in the next few slides. Some other options that you can access from here are the log filter, the toolbar manager, the bind key editor, the license manager, and the checkout and check-in preferences forms. Now preferences for most of the menu items can be accessed from the Options form. Choose Options and then go to File Preferences to open the form with the same name. Most of the forms in the tool are differentiated into subsections, making it easier for you to understand what those options can do for you. For instance, in the File Preferences section, you can set a number in the recently used file list field, and the number of entries that you specify here are directly related to the cell view list shown on the File menu. You can also choose to autosave the database after a certain number of entries. Options are available for you to open the library browser automatically on certain action, that's the library manager, and you can choose to have an exit prompt up when you select File Exit from the CIW to exit Virtuoso. The User Preferences form, like most of the other forms, is made up of different sections. Each section focuses on a set of options that you can control. Here we look at the Window Control section. In the Window Control section of this form, you can specify how you want to work with your design window placement. Whether a new window should be created when descending into a schematic. You can specify the location of mouse prompts, whether you want it on the top, on the bottom, or you don't want it at all. You can specify the focus policy when working with assistants. You can specify the position of the tabs. Also, with many shortcuts on, you can use the Alt key and specific keywords to access menu items. And with the tear off menus checkbox on, you can undock and move the menus around. In the Window Control section, you can set the focus policy that I spoke about on the previous slide. This focus policy can be set with 3 separate options. So in this example here, the focus policy has been set to canvas delay. Choosing this allows the canvas to be in focus as long as the pointer remains inside the canvas. This is the default, and this is useful when you want to move between multiple tabbed assistants and canvases. Couple of other options are Canvas Assist Delay, that allows bidirectional transfer of focus between the canvas and an open assistant as you move your mouse pointer around, and the Focus Delay slider that you see over here on this form lets you set a delay time after which the focus is transferred from the canvas to the assistant and vice versa. Final option of focus delay is click, and choosing this means that you have to click in the canvas to focus in, and just hovering over it will not do. In the Virtuoso canvas, you can dock as tabs any windows or assistants. So you can set that option from the Side Dock Tabs item that is under the Window Control section in the User Preferences form. Using this option, you can choose to tab the windows that you open sideways to. You can do this by changing the menu option to side instead of bottom. And this is how it looks like. You have your menu items docked on the side. So this is useful for docked windows with long names. You can change the look of the canvas by setting a background color of your choice. You can change this background color of the schematic canvas again from this User Preferences form. You can click on the default editor background color option and the select color form opens up. Change the color from black to white or any other color that you want. Click OK in this form and then again in the User Preferences form. Open any canvas or any cell view and you will be able to view the changes in the canvas. From the Options form, you can also set your checkout and check-in preferences for files and cell views. This is the Options form. Choose either checkout preferences or check-in preferences. On your left, you can see the Auto Checkout Preferences form, and on the right, the Auto Check-in Preferences form. The Auto Check-in options are set to Always Ask Me by default. When you do this, and I'm trying to auto check out a cell view, it opens a checkout prompt form asking you to confirm. Now if you set it to Never Ask Me, there is no confirmation checkout prompt that opens.